You know, we've been talking a lot about equanimity and abandoning attachment to friends, aversion to enemies, and apathy to strangers. And so yesterday I got another letter from Al, one of the inmates that I write to. And it's just about this topic, so I thought I would read it to you. Okay. So he's talking about our feelings, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feelings, and how they respectively bring attachment, anger, and apathy. So he says our feelings can be placed into three categories: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. These are reflective of the three categories of others and of sense objects. Okay, so the three categories of others: friends, enemies, and strangers. Also, the objects that we desire, have aversion towards, or are indifferent to, may switch categories depending on how they make us feel. At the base of this, is the root ignorance, blind stupidity. An example of a person I'm attached to is Mrs. Phillips, because she happens to be nice to me, and she happens to be nice to me, and she smiles 99% of the time. I have exaggerated her good qualities, despite knowing that she can be quite mean towards others. I choose to ignore this fact because I don't get yelled at, and I have preferential treatment. He's honest. An example of a person who I have angered towards is a guy named K-Rock. He is a gang member, likes to bully others, and just yesterday robbed someone of 3 cigarettes. That's a huge thing, you know, to do in prison. Instead of seeing an object that I should despise, I should look to him as someone who needs nurturing. He is also the worst drug addict in my block, and I've been there before. Perhaps it is the drugs that distorts the jewel in his mind. This is a good homework assignment. I'm learning things myself already. Okay. Under normal circumstances, we allow feelings to freely flow and sometimes sway us upstream to a place where we lose control. Sound familiar? Being mindful of our feelings and the people and objects that we ebb and flow with is helpful in letting go of the idea of a permanent inherent self. Yeah? So, and then he says, as he always does in his letters, may you and the residents of Sravasti Abbey continue to joyfully help others with a humble bow of gratitude and honor. I pray that each of you sustain mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion. As for me, in each step, may kindness be my religion. This is a guy who's in for life for murder. Yeah. So I think he says it quite well, you know, and finding those examples in your life of the person that you're attached to and have aversion for. He didn't give the example of the neutral one, but it's probably someone else in another block, yeah, that he doesn't relate to or doesn't know anything about. Yeah, so I appreciate his honesty, you know, in like, why am I attached to this one and why do I have aversion to that one? Because when we can be honest like that, then we can really make some headway. Yeah. So I wanted to clarify something in all this talk about, using emptiness to see that there's nobody special there, and so to have an equal, open-hearted concern for everybody equally, because there's no special personality, and we're not really, what does it mean to be special to someone else? Who's special? who inside of us is special to them, and who are they that's special to us. Yeah. So, breaking through a lot of that idea that, there's a real unique, special personality in everybody, So, that's looking at it from the ultimate viewpoint. That doesn't mean that everybody is exactly the same on a conventional level, because conventionally people have different traits. On the ultimate level, yes, all things are one taste in emptiness. But, if you want someone to cut a tree in the forest with a chainsaw, you're not going to ask me, you're going to ask Venerable Losang, okay? And, if you want someone to stir up a meeting, you'll ask me and you won't ask him. So, okay, so, people have different conventional characteristics, but this, and so you do things according to people's characteristics, but this idea of there being an inherently, special something about somebody that's really there inside them, that's never going to change, that's their real nature, that is what we have to overcome, because such a thing just does not exist, conventionally or ultimately.